Hey, what is going on? Welcome back and welcome to 2021. I hope you guys had a great Christmas, a great New Year's, just a great holiday season in general, no matter where you are in the world. And I'm so happy to have you hit back here on the channel for another video. And yeah, I'm super pumped for 2021. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely excited to have 2020 behind us. I'm sure the very beginning of 2021 is going to look a lot like last year, but I'm really optimistic that by the end of this year, things are going to be on the upswing for all of us. And yeah, I'm just optimistic that this is going to be a much better year in general for everybody. And yeah, I'm super excited. I got lots of great plans, lots of goals for myself and this channel. And yeah, I'm super excited. Do you guys do New Year's resolutions? Is that something that you do? I typically have kind of always done them. I usually do a pretty good job of following through on most of them. There's usually a few throughout the year that fall through, but yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on New Year's resolutions? Do you guys have any and you want to share? If you do, leave those comments down below. I'd be interested to see what you guys are up to, what you have planned for this year. But yeah, one big goal that I have for myself and for this channel for this year is to put out at least one video at a minimum between now and the end of 2021. So that means you're gonna be seeing at least another 50 videos from me between now and the end of the year. So I'm really excited to share those with you. I've got a ton of great ideas that I'm working towards. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to putting those out for you. Now, another big goal for this channel along with that is to finally get this channel up to 1,000 subscribers. Right now we're sitting at like 780 something, so I think that is a more than doable goal. I think that's a very humble goal. And so yeah, if you've been here before, if you've ever watched any of my other videos and you're back for another one and you haven't subscribed yet, do me a favor, go hit that subscribe button, help me out, help me reach one of those goals for this year. And yeah, it'd be a huge help for this channel and I'd really appreciate it. Okay, enough of all that. Let's jump into today's video and today's topic, and that is the A7 III, 3 years later. And yeah, so what I don't want this video to be though, is I don't want this to be about the A7 III in terms of specs and features and the things that it can do, the things that I like, the things that I maybe don't like. You know, that's all been covered by myself and it's been covered by plenty of other people out on YouTube. So that's really not what this video is about. This video is really more so, what I really wanted to focus on is how has this camera held up for me over time from like a durability standpoint, a reliability standpoint, because you know, that's something that you really just can't read off a spec sheet. That's something that you can really only find out through years of putting a camera through use. So I want to give you guys my thoughts on that, at least from my perspective using my particular camera. And then the other big thing that I want to talk about is the A7 III, 3 years down the road in early 2021. How does this camera stack up in the market today? And is it a camera that you should be considering picking up in January, February, March 2021, or whenever you're watching this video? So I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, but the first thing we're gonna start with is how well has this camera held up for me over the last 3 years? Okay, so first of all, yeah, I have had this camera for going on 3 years now. I was very lucky in that I was able to be one of the first people to get my hands on a Sony A7 III when it was first released. I was able to go down to my local camera shop, shout out to ProCam, Eric, what's up buddy? And yeah, they were able to hook me up with an A7 III, and it pretty much immediately became my go-to camera for all the work that I've done ever since. It is the camera that got me away from Canon and replaced my 5D Mark III. And yeah, I mean, at this point, I've probably used it on, I don't know, like 70 plus weddings and countless engagement sessions and portrait sessions and taking it into the city for, you know, street photography and taking it traveling. And yeah, I mean, really just everything I've done over the last 3 or so years has been on the A7 III. It's been my go-to camera for all my work. And for me, over all that time and all these shoots, week in, week out, it has been nothing but reliable. It's been an incredible camera that I've always been able to turn to and just have it do what I need it to do. Now, one big thing that a lot of people always want to know about the A7 III in terms of reliability is the shutter. Now, again, like I'm only one person, I can only give you my experience with my particular camera, but I've had zero issues with my shutter, and I do have a lot of actuations on this camera. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I think the last time I checked, I was getting somewhere around 130 to 140,000 actuations. So not quite at that 200,000 mark yet, but I've definitely put this camera through a lot of use. I've taken a lot of images with it, and I've used it in all sorts of conditions, from cold or wet, rainy, snowy to extreme heat. And it has always held up for me. It's always been a great performer. And again, I've just had zero issues with it. Now, in terms of like the overall body and how well it's, you know, worn and held up over the years, Again, like this camera, just looking at it, it would not pass as brand new, but it still looks really, really good. It still looks really, really clean. None of the grips are peeling. The body, the finish, it's worn a little bit in a few places, but nothing more than what you would expect. All the doors for the covers, the memory card slot cover, all that stuff works perfectly fine. The buttons all work perfect. Never had a single issue with the LCD or the viewfinder. Yeah, just in general, this camera has held up really well. It does have, a few dings and a few scratches here and there through normal use, and really just honestly mostly me dropping it. But yeah, I've been really pleased with how well my A7 III has held up over the years. It still looks great, it still works great, and I have no doubts that it would continue to work great for me for another couple of years. Now, with all that being said, I do tend to take pretty good care of my stuff and take pretty good care of my gear. Growing up, I never really had nice things, so growing up into an adult, I've always tended to take pretty good care of the stuff that I do have. But that being said, I don't really go out of my way to abuse it, but I don't necessarily go out of my way to really baby it either. My A7 III, I've never used like a skin on it to protect it. I've never used one of those silly silicone covers. No offense to anybody who uses those, but let's be honest, they're a little bit silly. I've never even used so much as a screen protector for the LCD. I just take this camera and I take it with me to shoots, to weddings, whatever. And, for me, it's a tool and I use it. And if it gets scratched, if it gets dinged, so be it. I don't really care if it wears a little bit. But again, like I said, it still looks great. It still, performs great. And it's been nothing but a reliable camera for me over the last few years. So, if you're considering picking up an A7 III for professional use and you're worried about how well is it going to hold up over a number of years of use, in my opinion and in my experience, it's going to do fantastic for you. Okay, so enough on that. Let's move on to the second part of this video, which is, the A7 III, 3 years later, early 2021. Where does this camera fit in the market? Is it something that you should maybe be considering buying? And I'm sure for a lot of you, that's probably why you clicked on this video. You're probably thinking about buying an A7 III, but you're wondering if you should maybe hold out for the A7 IV. That camera's on the horizon. I just made a video about it the other day. And so, yeah, maybe that's a question that's on your mind. So generally speaking, I would say the A7 III, it's held up really well over the years. I think the way it's positioned in the market, it's still a phenomenal camera as both a stills camera as well as a video camera. Really from a stills side, I would say it's still one of the best cameras that's out there, that's on the market. And really, I would say it's still one of the best stills cameras that's ever been produced, ever. Now on the video side, I hesitate to say this, but I would say that the A7 III from a video standpoint is maybe starting to show its age a little bit. Sony has been producing 8-bit, 1080p, 120 frame per second, 4K 30 frame per second cameras for a very long time. It's certainly at least as far back as the A6300, possibly even longer than that. And so that's kind of an old trick and show for Sony at this point. And, they really do need to start upping the game a little bit with a lot of their newer releases, because let's face it, Nikon and Canon are finally starting to catch up. They're definitely starting to release cameras that are competing on the video front again. And, Sony definitely needs to step it up a little bit. Obviously they did, and they made a big step up with the A7S III. But yeah, I guess that would be the one place where I would say the A7 III is maybe showing its age a little bit, is in terms of the video specs. But again, I really hesitate to say that because, the reality is, from a technical list standpoint, comparing it to other cameras on the market, yeah, sure, the A7 III is maybe starting to fall a little bit behind, but from a practicality standpoint, the A7 III is still a phenomenal camera. Like, you can definitely still go and take this camera and go out and create images and photos and videos that you can sell and, to clients, to other business owners, and to grow your business or to build your business. It's still a great camera capable of producing amazing content. So I do really hesitate to say that it's falling behind. Even though technically it is on a spec sheet or comparing it to other cameras, the reality is, from a practical standpoint, it's still a more than capable tool of going out and producing content that you can sell to, your clients and to grow your business and to run your business. Okay, so with all that said then, who is the A7 III for in 2021? Well, the first thing I would say is, if you are a stills only photographer, if you don't care about video at all, video means nothing to you, you don't have any aspirations to ever do video, that photos are your one and only thing, it's your bread and butter, that's all you care about, If you fall into that boat, then I would say, just go ahead and get the A7 III if it's a camera that you're interested in. Again, it's one of the best cameras that's out there from a stills photography standpoint. And again, I think it's one of the best stills photography cameras that's ever been built ever. So if you are considering the A7 III for stills, then yeah, just 100% just go get the A7 III, because really what are you missing potentially over getting the A7 IV when that comes out from a stills photography only standpoint? Honestly, not that much. With the A7 IV, you're probably going to get a little bit more resolution with a bigger sensor. You're probably going to get a slightly better EVF, and you might get some, modest improvements in the terms of autofocus. But again, so if a better EVF and more resolution is what you really want, then just go get an A7R III. Don't even wait for the A7 IV. Just go get an R3 or an R4 if resolution and a better EVF is what you want. But if you're looking for something that is going to be just a stills only camera and 24 megapixels is enough for you, just go ahead and get the A7 III. I think you're gonna be happy with it, and it's gonna be a great camera for many years to come. Okay, so now for those of you who, you do want a A7 III or an A7 IV because you do want to use it as a hybrid camera, you want to do stills with it, and you do want to do video with it. And that's a totally, reasonable, assertion or request or whatever. That's one of the reasons why the A7 III and, in the future, the A7 IV are going to be so popular, is because they are great hybrid cameras. And so if that's you, what I would ask you is this: do you need a camera today? Like, did your old camera get stolen, or is it broken? Maybe you're shooting on an A7 II still, but maybe 2021 is the year that you finally start shooting weddings on your own as a lead photographer, and you really want a camera that's got 2 memory card slots. So you're considering the A7 III, but you kind of want to hold out for an A7 IV, or maybe you rent in the meantime, or something else, I don't know. If you fall into that category, what I would say is if you need a camera today, just go get the A7 III and use it for the time being. It's going to be a fantastic camera, and when the A7 IV comes out, if you want to upgrade, go ahead and upgrade. Now, I know some people are hesitant to do that because, they don't want to buy an A7 III now and then in 8 or 9 or 10 months have the new model come out and then have their current A7 III depreciate by a ton and not be able to get a lot of money for it. And what I'll say to that is, the A7 IV, when it comes out, it's not going to be a $2,000 camera like the A7 III was. It's probably going to be priced new at $2,400, $2,500, $2,600, which means the A7 III isn't going to drop that much in price when the A7 IV comes out. It'll probably drop to something like, $1,500, which means the used copies of an A7 III are still going to be going for like $1,100 or $1,200. So I don't think you're going to take as big of a loss on an A7 III if you buy it today and then sell it 9-10 months down the road. So that's something else to think about. I can't guarantee any of this, obviously. This is just me, my own conjecture. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So if you absolutely need a camera today and you're looking at the A7 III, I say just go for it. Okay, so now let's say you are somebody who is looking at the A7 III, but you're also kind of considering the A7 IV for when that comes out, but you have a camera system that works for you today. It's doing everything you need it to do. It's producing all the work you need it to produce for you. And maybe you're just bored. Maybe you're just bored with your current setup. Maybe you got a little bit of gear acquisition syndrome going on. Maybe you just got some money in your pocket that's burning a hole from Christmas. Or, maybe you're still shooting on Nikon or Canon and you just want to go ahead and jump over to Sony. You don't really want to wait. So you're considering the A7 III in early 2021. I would say if you fall into that category and you don't really absolutely have to have a camera today, I would say if you can, I know it's hard sometimes, but if you can, wait for the A7 IV to at least be announced. So, wait for Sony to put out that announcement, find out exactly what the A7 IV is officially going to be shipping with in terms of features and ability, and then make a more complete decision at that point. Maybe you still don't buy the A7 IV. Maybe 9-10 months down the road, you still get the A7 III because you determined that's the better camera for you. But, at least by waiting a few more months, you'll have a more complete picture in terms of what camera is going to be best for you and your needs in the long run. And so, yeah, again, if you don't absolutely have to have a camera today, then I would say hold off for as long as you can. If you can wait for the A7 IV announcement, then wait till then to make your decision. All right, guys. So, that's really my thoughts on the A7 III in 2021, 3 years later. My experience with the camera has been that over the course of the last 3 years, it has been a great performer for me. It's held up so well. And for a lot of people, I think it's still going to be a great buy in early 2021. So if you're looking at this camera, definitely consider it. To take a lot of things into consideration, think about everything I said in this video, think about where, your needs lie, and make the best decision that's right for you. But ultimately, I hope you guys found this video useful. Hopefully you got something out of it. Maybe I helped you make your decision a little bit easier. If I did, if you found it helpful, entertaining, whatever, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. It would really mean a lot to me and definitely help out the channel. Again, if you haven't subscribed already, definitely go down below, hit that subscribe button. I've got so many more plans for this channel for this year. Definitely looking out again to put at least one video every single week at a minimum from now until the end of the year. So a ton of new content coming your way. So subscribe to be able to see that. And then questions, comments, anything that I didn't mention about the A7 III in this video that you were looking for, leave those questions down in the comments below. I'll do my best to get to them and answer them as soon as I can. And yeah, other than that, guys, welcome to 2021. I'm so pumped for this year. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well. And so as always, guys, take care, keep shooting, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.